House. Keir, welcome to the programme. What do you think could have happened here?
Well, at the moment, we simply don't know. Now, your correspondent in Moscow is using some quite strong words there, no, confirmed, etc. But we simply don't know because the only sources we have claiming that there were, in fact, Ukrainian POWs waiting for exchange on this aircraft is the Russian Ministry of Defense. It's a notoriously unreliable source. And so far, the evidence that has emerged doesn't support that theory. The fact that the plane was flying away from Ukraine at the time, for instance, is just one of the indicators that this is something that the Russians have put forward as a means to soften the blow of a military defeat, of a military disaster. It may well be that Russia will have the opportunity to build on that story. After all, they have every opportunity to fabricate evidence, for example, of additional people on board that aircraft. But there are other pointers that suggest this is unlikely. 65 Ukrainian POWs with only 3 guards, for example, and the speed with which Russia has capitalized on this story, which is usually an indicator that it's something prepared in advance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if the Russian investigation finds fragments of Western-supplied missiles, would you even trust that kind of evidence, in quotation marks?
Absolutely not. Let's think back to the most recent occasion when Russia shot down an aircraft over its own territory, eliminating Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of the Wagner Group, and the leading figures in that organization. Russia won't stop at murdering innocent people in order to gain a propaganda win or something which it sees as enhancing its own position worldwide. And here, too, we shouldn't be at all surprised if they count the lives of Ukrainian POWs at nothing. If they need to provide bodies to support their story, they'll find them.
Where do you think we are at the moment, Keir, in terms of the weaponry that Ukraine needs to continue its resistance and the war fatigue that may exist amongst Kiev's Western allies? Because Vladimir Putin, he knows he can outlast almost anybody.
Well, that's not necessarily the case. He's unlikely to be able to outlast Ukraine because Ukraine has its back against the wall, and with or without Western supplies, they know the alternative to fighting on is elimination at the hands of the Russian genocidal occupiers. So there is a challenge that the situation we've been expecting for some time, when Western aid is interdicted by the political nervous breakdowns that we've seen in Washington, D.C. and in Brussels, has already started to bite hard. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Ukraine is not going to fight on. And that static front line that we see on the map is misleading because it gives the impression that nothing is happening in the war. Here, with this shooting down of this Ilyushin aircraft in Belgorod, and with spectacular Ukrainian successes like clearing the Black Sea and making sure that the Black Sea fleet, the Russian Black Sea fleet, is pushed back from Ukraine's trade routes, shows that there are still things happening in this war which are not related to the simple position on the map.
Keir, thanks so much for helping us to understand what might be taking place. Really, really appreciate it. Keir Giles from Chatham House.